We're here this evening at our annual Family Policy Alliance Conference, featuring all of our 40 state allies all across the country are here with us for the week, as well as 32 statesmen, men and women from across the country, who are going into politics to serve from a Christian perspective. We're blessed this evening to have the 80th United States Attorney General Alberto Gonzales with us. General Gonzales, it's great to have you with us.
Paul, good to be here.
Thank you so much for taking the time out. Of course, I'm going to hit the obvious question, and that is tell us about your time with President George W. Bush and how that relates to the book that's just coming out today.
Well, I had the opportunity to serve with a great man, George W. Bush. One of the things I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight is my relationship with him. He was a man of great faith, and it resonated throughout the administration, and we got to know each other from our days in Texas, and obviously the opportunities that he gave me fundamentally changed the trajectory of my life. And of course I had the opportunity to work in the White House during 9/11, one of the most historic periods in our nation's history. And so being able to serve our nation, to serve with George W. Bush was really truly one of the highlights of my life.
Well, you talked about the president's faith, and obviously sometime since his departure from the White House, we're seeing a lot of attacks on Christian faith across America. As an attorney, former Attorney General, how would you respond to that today?
Well, it is true. I think we're seeing attacks on religious liberty, and it worries me, and it does trouble me. I think there are some things that can be done about it, and I'll talk a little bit about that tonight to the audience. Obviously, a lot of it deals with education, working with young rising leaders, working with the current leaders and encouraging them to take a stand on behalf of religious liberty. There are things that can be done to protect our religious freedoms, and it is what makes America so great, and I think deserves great protection.
Well, that's certainly what our conference is about this week, is training and equipping both statesmen and our family policy counselors from all across the country on religious liberty and how they can take a stand. General Gonzales, this evening we've asked you to talk a little bit about a touchy subject, which is judicial activism. If you could characterize that and perhaps give some thoughts about some remedies to judges who are creating legislation from the bench, that'd be helpful. And you have about a minute.
Well, of course, I think there's a great deal of disagreement about what is judicial activism, and that's one of the things that I'll be touching upon tonight. Judicial activism, I think, is probably the greatest threat to the independence of our judiciary, because it does erode respect in our judiciary. Our citizens abide by the decisions of our judiciary because of the respect they have in our judiciary. But if they believe the judiciary is making decisions not based upon neutral principles, I think that is very, very dangerous. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight.
Great. General Gonzales, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you all for making it possible to bring Attorney General Gonzales here this evening to speak before our annual conference. Thank you also for your prayers for this week. I know many of you out there have been praying for this conference, and especially we thank you for your support.